The New York Times has for nearly 6 months been preparing a hit piece against Shenyang performing arts. That's what NTD's sister media, the Epoch Times, has learned. New York-based Shenyang tours the globe with 8 companies performing simultaneously. Its mission: to revive traditional Chinese culture through the medium of dance and music. It also shines a light on human rights abuses happening in today's China under the communist regime. Because of it, the company cannot perform inside China. What's behind the Epoch Times' investigation, and why did the New York Times decide to target Shenyang? Epoch Times investigative reporter Peter Schwab and Crossroads' host Joshua Phillip join us to discuss. Peter, you just released a report called "The New York Times, After Years of Appeasing the CCP, Now Plans Attack on Shenyang." Now, this is like the biggest media in America, the New York Times. Many people look up to this. What did you find out here? How do we know this is a hit piece that they're planning on Shenyang?
Well, the company found out about half a year ago that 2 reporters from the New York Times were reaching out to former artists with Shenyang. And they were asking some questions that kind of led the company to believe that they're trying to specifically find people who may have left the company with a grudge, and that they're specifically looking for negative information. And then gradually they kind of more information came to them from former members of the company.
Give us an example of that. How did we know this was going to be a negative piece?
I think one specific person had a very kind of, yeah, she was a bit disturbed by what the reporters were asking her. They basically reached out to her to ask specifically about a dance injury she had during a performance years ago, and they kind of suggested in the email that part of the story would try to make it look like that the dancers are not receiving proper medical care when they get injured during practice or, performing on stage, and she was a bit upset about that, because that was not her experience, and so we reached out to other people, former dancers, current dancers, students at 2 schools that are affiliated with Shenyang.
I mean, I know Peter was looking into this. If you look at the stats based on normal injuries in ballet, for example, it looks like it's significantly lower with Shenyang. Like, people get injured less, actually. Frankly, the facts and even documented cases of dancers getting injured there and then getting, of course, proper treatment also goes just right in the face of what New York Times seems to be trying to cobble together. And I think that's where, he started looking into, of course, the China ties and such. And, because that's the big concern is, fine media wanting to do a biased article. That's one thing. It's another thing if that biased article is aligning with, say, foreign government, like disinformation, like real, not the name-calling type, but actual, like from the Chinese Communist Party, being used for what's really a genocide in China. The question is, why are they doing it, I think.